Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Synergy Open Forum training. I have Maggie with me here today, and she will be helping out with the questions. So you'll be getting some written answers from her, and some will be things that she will bring to the forum, and I will demonstrate them or answer them live. So the one question that I thought I would start with was, how can I figure out all the rubrics for a specific remedy in a specific section? And so there are a couple of different ways to do that. You can always, and so I hope everybody knows this, but I have some of my repertories pinned here at the top. And these are the ones I think I pinned at the last training. I do, I have the 24 because I demoed the 24, but you can see I have some of my older completes in here as well. I have Suggesta, which is Massimo Mangialavori's repertory, and the Reliable. So depending on whichever repertory you like and have pinned to the top, and let me know if you'd like me to show you how to pin your favorite repertories to the top so you don't have to scroll all the way down to find them. When you are in your repertoire, in the repertory that you prefer to use. So we'll just go with this. And let's say you want to know all of the bladder rubrics for pulsatilla. So there are many different ways. And actually, before I show you that, somebody also asked how I set up my repertory module so that I have all the icons on the left and the rubrics on the right. And the really quick, easy way to do that is to use this little hidden arrow over here next to the repertory that's open. When you do that, it basically hides all your repertories. And the one that you use the most is the one that's kind of visible here. So here's the repertory I use all the time with the icons. I'm not wasting my space seeing all the other repertories. And I have, the chapters up here. And so you can maximize the space on your desktop. So let's go back to how do we see all of the rubrics for pulsatilla in the bladder section. And there's, as I said, many different ways, and I'll show you all the different ways. So the first way, which is right up at the top in your repertory module, you can come here and you can just filter for a remedy. So you can go pulse and select that. You will click apply. And now I can see all of the pulsatilla rubrics for the bladder chapter. And like any other chapter or rubrics in any chapter, you can definitely pick one. And if you just hit return on your Mac computer or enter on your PC, then it will automatically create a clipboard and put that rubric in it. So this would be one way. Now, what this will do is it will temporarily restrict your bladder chapter in this repertory to pulsatilla. And here you can scroll down and look at all of, and it's a big bladder remedy, so you will see a lot of rubrics, and you can scroll down. Once you close this chapter, you are not limited to pulsatilla anymore. So once I close that, and if I open speech and voice, it is my regular repertory without any filters for any specific remedies. If you want to maintain the filter, regardless of the chapter you're in, so you want the filter to apply to the entire repertory, make sure that you filter from the window of the repertory and not the window of the chapter. When you filter from the window of the chapter, it's a temporary filter. when you filter from the window of the repertory module, it is a permanent filter and it applies whatever that filter is, whether it's by remedy or grouping or author, that filter will apply not just to the repertory that's open, but all of the repertories that you have actually. So no matter, even when you change the repertory, it will still apply. That if, let's say, the filter was pulsatilla, then even if I do the filter from here, then even if I change my repertory and my chapter, the filter applies throughout the repertory module. And I can show you that. So we do the exact same thing. We do remedy, and I'm going to type pulse. And we hit apply. And you see now in speech and voice, it's limited to pulse, which was the open chapter. But if I go to respiration, it's still limited to pulse. No matter where I go, it's going to be limited to pulse. And if I switch my repertory, and let's open reliable, and I will go to eyes, you can see that it's still limited to pulse. So this way you can definitely search and study like all of the rubrics for a specific remedy in a specific section. And as you can see, there are other filters that can be applied. You can apply a ranunculaceae filter, which is the family of pulsatilla. You could apply author filters if you have specific authors and you want to look at what they have, and grade, of course. So you can, play around with these. The other ways, obviously, to do it would be, so let me clear this filter. Let me clear this filter. The other quicker way, if you don't want the entire repertory filtered out, would be to just come here. And I think this should work as well. And I say remedy. And then I can say bladder. And so now I have two different filters applied here. And I have never actually done this. So let's see what happens. So now what this has done is it'll give you the pulsatilla rubrics for the bladder section for every single repertory that you have in your program. So, that's a quicker way. Another way would be to go here, and then you can say search remedies. And this is our advanced search function. So you can choose your remedy up here. Apply. And then you can choose the repertory you want. So let's choose reliable. You can say all sections, or you can choose your section. Let's do vision. And here you have a couple of other filters in advanced search that you don't have in your typical filter in the other parts of the program. Where you can say, okay, I want to see all of the rubrics in the vision chapter in the reliable repertory for pulsatilla, where the rubrics are anywhere from 1 to like less than 5. So let's see, 5 or less. And I don't know if pulsatilla actually has any tiny rubrics in vision, but we can try that. And I'm going to click on the plus sign so that any searches that I have run prior will still stay and I won't override them. If you click on search, then you override your previous search. So we click on the plus button and you see all of the rubrics that it pulled up with pulsatilla in them have less than 5 remedies. So these are highly indicative, prominent rubrics for pulsatilla. And so you can change that filter, of course. You can say any number, you can say less than 10, et cetera, et cetera. So that would be another way to focus on honing in on some part of the remedy that you want to study, or even a grouping that you want to study, either by different sections. You can also obviously apply more filters here if you're using global search, but you can do this either through the repertory module, through global search, or through advanced search. So I don't know if there are any questions, Maggie.
Rupali, Robert is asking, could you comment on why you choose different repertories?
What do you mean why I choose different repertories?
What's the criteria that you use? I know it.
Oh, oh, I see. Well, when I'm just repertorizing a case, I want my repertory to be big enough that it has more modern remedies in it, because that's how I work. But I also don't want it to be so large that it has a lot of things that aren't relevant for me. So I don't choose the super tiny repertories, and I don't choose the super large repertories. I still go back to my complete 2011. I really like the reliable repertory for acutes. Um, Sometimes when I'm in an area that I don't know very much about, or I have not been in that area of the repertory, either from a pathological reason, maybe I haven't had a patient with that pathology, is something new to me, then I cast my net wider. And um, I like the work that Massimo does, so I will pull Suggesta in. I will use one of the not very new completes. And I also pull in a more classical, reliable, confirmed repertory, either the reliable or the Andre Sain, the new Andre Sain repertory. So I know that either of those two, there is a team of people that is checking everything that goes in. So I will generally look at a couple of modern repertories, a couple of repertories maybe that are slightly more classical, but I know that the data in there is very good. Um, Single remedy rubrics, you can look at NAIR, and there is Isayaga also sometimes has some interesting rubrics. And then when I'm looking for specific mental qualities where I know the case is strong, or there are strong mental qualities and not that much pathology, or I know that I will probably prescribe on the basis of the mentals, then I always go to the QREP. And I think that helps me. And sometimes I will just combine pathology with mental qualities as well as mental rubrics. So obviously, I mean, sometimes there will be a mix of rubrics on the clipboard from different repertories, depending on what I'm looking for. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, thanks, Rupali. Very interesting to see or hear how different people work. Pamela is asking, what is the name of Andrew Sain's repertory?
It's just called the Sane Rep. So here it is. We will be issuing, they did make a lot of additions in 2024. So we will be issuing shortly the Sane repertory for 2025. And it is, it's structured classically, based on Kent's structure, and it's a work that has been happening for the last 10 years by the Materia Medica Pura project, led by Andre Sain and a whole team of homeopaths who volunteer their time. And all of the rubrics are verified, and they come from, many of them come from the monographs that have been written by that same group. the MMPP.
Laurie is asking, if I want to find the remedies in order that deal with suppression or indeed any topic, how would I do that? Can we still produce graphs of this like we did in MacRep?
What does she mean by remedies in order?
Either starting, I guess, with I think it must be the rubrics in order. You know, that icon over there on the right-hand side.
Just, do you mind, Maggie, reading the question again?
If I want to find, she says, if I want to find the remedies in order that deal with any topic, how would I do that?
So, I mean, I assume you're looking at remedies for suppression or remedies for cystitis or
Yeah, she's saying, in other words, which remedies have the most references to suppression?
yes. So you're looking at, so what in MacRepertory, there used to be the concept graph, and you could put in the condition and how different remedies played out for that particular condition, or you could, so we don't have that at the moment in the program, but in the update that we are working on, which is a huge update with a lot of new functionality coming, this functionality will be available. The concept graphs.
Karen wants to know if you could cover elimination.
Yeah, sure. So let's put some rubrics on the clipboard. I think I have, okay, I have eyes here. So let's say, okay, we'll put this, and I don't actually know what else is on there. Let's put this. And we can put this. And maybe we'll put, yeah, there we go. So here's a clipboard. You can see it's got a couple of, mind symptoms on it and some pathology. And so elimination is a way of honing in where you are absolutely sure of certain qualities in the patient, and you want to make sure that the remedy you give absolutely covers those specific qualities. Maybe they're facts about the patient, and it's like, there's no way I can give this person a remedy that doesn't also cover this factual characteristic in the case. And let's assume that in this case, so what you would do is you would eliminate or cross that particular rubric, which absolutely has to be there in the remedy, with all of the other rubrics that you have in your clipboard. And in order to do that, what you're going to do, and I mean, I could come at it and say, let's say you have 20 rubrics. And then off that 20, you decide that 8 are really important. And in that 8, the remedy that you give has to absolutely cover 2. So it's a way of kind of honing in. And then in this particular clipboard that we've built, let's say all of these 5 things are important, but the remedy that I give absolutely has to have agoraphobia in it. So then the way I'm going to do this is I held down the shift key and selected the bottom rubric. So it selected all of them. And I'm going to just drag and drop them into the plus of the elimination. And when I click here, you can see that all 5 rubrics are here. And I want to eliminate by this rubric. Generally, It doesn't make sense, for example, to eliminate by this rubric, the third one here, because it's the largest rubric. That specific quality that you want generally ends up being, because it's so specific and factual, it ends up being a smaller rubric. So you can cross a larger rubric with a smaller rubric, but you can't really do it the other way around. So in this case, I'm saying my patient absolutely needs a remedy that covers agoraphobia. So I'm going to turn just this one into a minus. And so now you can see that the original pool of remedies from these 5 rubrics was about 204. And I said that I need the remedy that I'm going to give, like in my consideration set, to absolutely cover agoraphobia. When I cross these 204 remedies with the agoraphobia 29 remedies, I'm only left with 21. And this is my consideration set now. So I can say, show me the remedies, or I can say, show me the graph. So modify this graph here just to show me these 21. So when I do that, actually you can see, and if I was to scroll, there's 204 remedies here. But when I say show graph, and I can move this over. Yeah, and now you see that what I see are only the 21 remedies that result when I eliminate or use elimination to cross this pool of remedies with agoraphobia. And now it's a much easier consideration set because you can look, and of course, you can apply more analysis to it. You can do kingdom analysis, you can do miasm, you can look at it and see what makes sense. There are a couple of new functionalities here where you can come up here and you can use any of these analyses. You can limit the view to the remedies family. So I think I clicked on sepia when I did that. So let me try, let's see what else is up here. Let's do Nux. I don't know. So if I say view remedies family, you can see the remedy family and you can limit the entire repertorization by Nux, the family of Nux, Loganiaceae. You can come back here and you can say, okay, I don't want to see any of the others. Nux looks really promising. And you can say, just limit the view to this one remedy. And I know I'm straying away from elimination now, but I'm showing you what else you can do after you've done elimination. And there's a lot of other analyses buried here. You can say limit view to multiple remedies. And when I do that, it gives me my repertorization remedies in order. And I can say I only want to consider these 5 remedies in the top 10, and they're sort of manic intense remedies. Let's do camphora, and I'll say apply. And so now I've got these, relatively intense, what in my school used to be called mania remedies. And you've eliminated everything else. And you can just look at these and see how the rubrics play out for these 5 remedies. So there's lots of things you can do in addition to elimination on the clipboard. But yes, that's what elimination is.
Roopali, Andreas Quast is just making the point that elimination, maybe in beginners' hands, they need to be careful about overusing elimination because you might actually eliminate the remedy you're looking for.
Yes. So you have to be, that's why I briefly mentioned that you start with a much bigger clipboard. Make sure you've captured everything about the case, and then you start to hone in, and make sure you're very careful about honing in, because if you get too narrow, then as Andrea says, you can eliminate the remedy out of the case. And then you're looking at a small consideration set that may not have the remedy you actually need. Thank you, Andreas.
Hasnet is asking, where is the question gone? About the sensation. Sorry. How do I find the sensation words in the sensation module?
Well, actually, so the sensation module is built, which is VitalQuest. So the sensation module here, which is VitalQuest, is built off of all of the sensation words that are available. You don't find the sensation words inside the module. You find the sensation words in your case, and then you type them here. So for example, caught, and you can type you can copy and paste your entire case. And I'm going to say select all, because these are sensation words of a very specific plant family. And I'm going to say sensation analysis. And as I said, it's a plant family, and they're actually the words of anacardiaceae. So if your patient is focused and everything mentally, physically, locally, generally is caught and stiff and tight, then those are your sensation words. You have to find the sensation words in the case. And then when you bring them to the analysis portion of the module, it will tell you which families those sensation words apply to and which remedies they're for. So, if it's anacardiaceae, then these are the remedies you would consider. You can't, if you don't know, for example, you could be studying C remedies and you don't know what the sensation words are for C remedies. So if that's what Hasnat is asking, then you would come here to VitalQuest notes and you would come to animals. And here you can see there are all the animal groupings, right? And you would come, so C remedies, obviously, from a taxonomy perspective, is not just mollusks, because you have mammals and you have algae and you have all sorts of other groupings in there, and fish, of course. But let's say you wanted to learn about the sensation words. So, here in VitalQuest notes, you will have all of that information, and you can use that to teach yourself. You can go down, and there's natural history. There are, so let's see, behavior, attack and defense. There are a lot of sensation words here, in addition to obviously doctrine of signatures. And you can teach yourself and understand what sensation words would be applicable or attached to mollusks. And not just mollusks, but the subfamilies in mollusks. So you can go here and you can look at different families and the sensations of different families. So yes, if you're just looking to educate yourself, then you would come here. But if you're looking to analyze a case, then you would find those sensation words and put them in the analysis section here. I hope that answers Hasnat's question.
Yeah, I hope so. If not, Hasnat, let us know. Thanks, Roopali. Laurie Hoffman is asking if you were going to talk about Genie.
Sure. I deliberately actually used this laptop for the training because this is the one that still has the current version of the program that everyone else also has. And this is the one that I use for clinic. My other machine, which is lying right here next to me, is the one that has Genie. The Genie is the name that we've given. We're calling it your in-office assistant or your expert assistant. It, yeah, for all those who know about the current AI revolution and, generative AI, this is a model that we have trained entirely on our homeopathic literature. And so it uses generative artificial intelligence. So it's trained, it's an intelligent model, and it can then make a lot of connections based on the books and the literature that it's been trained on. It can make a lot of connections and answer some, all sorts of questions from basic to advanced. And it learns as it's used, and it evolves. So there's continuous training going on, and it evolves also, and learns from how it answers, basically whether those answers were correct, the level to which they're correct, and so that's how it evolves. And we have demonstrated that now publicly in a few different platforms and have received a lot of positive feedback. I know everybody is waiting for it with a lot of excitement and can't wait to try. We have been beta testing. We have now started to work with testers outside of our immediate synergy organization. And so that beta testing is now going on. We hope to be able to bring this to market very, very soon. So I don't know if you have specific questions about it, if you have seen a demonstration. Let me know if you have a specific question, but it's really exciting technology, and I think it's about time that, homeopaths also had access to it. I mean, everybody is using ChatGPT, so think of this as a ChatGPT for homeopathy, specifically for homeopathy.
I've just posted the link to the video, the demonstration video on the website. I've just posted the link.
Great. That's great. Thanks, Maggie.
Can
Yeah,
you
so have a look at the video. It's a short, like I think 8 to 10 minute demo, just about Genie.
Hasnat is asking, could you go back to Vital Quest there for a moment and
Yeah.
show an example of using the sensation words from a case? She's saying she's doing what you have shown, but gets them. Please select words for analysis.
She gets what?
Please select words for analysis.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if I can pull up a case. Okay. So give me a second. I'm going to pull up a case or maybe a follow-up, and then I will paste it in there. Okay. So okay, so I'm not sure this is super appropriate because I just pulled up the first follow-up, but let's see if I can do this here. So I just pulled up a paragraph, and I'm going to type this here. So you can see this is just a follow-up. It's not very concrete. And so what it does when you type is it tries to identify sensation words from the text that you've typed. And then it puts those on the right-hand side, and it says, okay, I picked up these sensation words, but do you think these are the right sensation words? And it gives you the list of all the words that it thought were sensation words in the text that you pasted. So that's what you get, select words for analysis. So I can say, go down the list, and I say, yeah, these are all good sensation words for this case. And I can just say select all. Or you can say, well, these are not very good, or that there's a lot of stuff here that doesn't work. So then you can go in individually and say, these here, and say these are the sensation words. And the rest are more kind of just words used not as sensation, but more in the regular sense of the word. And you can say sensation analysis. And I don't know what will happen because this was not a very good paragraph that I pulled up. In the interest of time, I pulled up the first one. But you can still say, okay, and it's saying based on the sensation words that I pulled up, that it could be a Labiate remedy or an umbelliferi remedy. And you will have a sense of the case, and you can ask the Vital Quest sensation module to help you. And then, whatever suggestions you get from that module, you should still cross-check with your sense of the case. Does it feel like a Labiate patient, or does it feel like an umbelliferi case? If you're analyzing from a sensation perspective, then you should have a sense for where the sensation in the case lay, and whether what the program is saying is making sense. You may also want to, if it's not making sense, if those two suggestions, for example, don't make sense, you want to go back and look at the sensation words again. Maybe you're ascribing sensation in places that, it doesn't exist. So it's definitely, you're engaging with the program to analyze. And the program doesn't know your patient. You know your patient. You were there at the case. So you have to bring some of that to the program. And then based on what the program spits back out at you, you have to cross-check with your own sense of the case and your sense of the patient. I would say always do that. Don't just take what the program says as gospel truth and then run with it. So that's, so if I go back, let me see. And I don't know if I can go back to the sensation words. Yeah. So that's what it means. Select words for analysis means the program is asking you, this is what I think it is, but you know your case, you know your patient. So what do you think? Out of this list, what do you think are the sensation words? And so it asks you for your input in here, and then you can analyze. That's what it means.
Thanks, Roopali. Jill is asking, how can I look up bird remedies in the program?
So it's very easy. You will come to the second icon in your program, which is the reference library. And here the material can be organized by remedies or by books. So obviously, the default is remedies, and there are thousands of remedies here. The fastest way to get to a group of remedies is to use your filter. And I will come here, kingdom, can type birds. Excuse me. Say apply. And here you have all your bird remedies. Still quite a few. And when you're done with that, you can just clear that out. This button, this icon here in any part of the program tells you that there's a filter that can be applied. This is the books filter, and this is the remedies filter. This is everywhere in the program. This is only here next to books. So I showed you this filter here. And it will always, when you hover over it, it will tell you. So apply filter, here, apply filter, and then here, apply filter. This is always the filter button. It also here, apply filter. I could apply the filter here and say birds in my repertorization. No bird remedies. These are all small rubrics anyway. So, but yeah, and there's basic filters here, animal, plants, and minerals. Any other questions, Maggie?
Yeah, Pamela is just asking, where would you order these many bird remedies?
Where would I order? It depends where you are, Pamela. There are good pharmacies in all parts of the world. I am not at the moment because right now I'm in India, but generally I live in the US, and I tend to order medicating potencies from Helios and also Freeman's in Scotland. And if I'm looking for pre-made sort of pills, and I need them quickly, then I have a couple of pharmacies in the US that I order from. Depends where you are in North America, Europe, Asia.
She's in the
Sorry.
she's in the US.
Oh, you're in the US. So I tend to order my bird. I have ordered from INE Organics. I find they have the widest selection in North America. And then sometimes, once in a while, I'll order from Hahnemann Labs. But my preferred pharmacy in the US is INE Organics. But as I said, I also order a lot of medicating potencies, which I prefer to get from Helios. That's my first go-to pharmacy, and then Freeman's in Scotland is my second one for medicating potencies. So I hope that helps. I do have a few bird patients, and I have ordered bird remedies. So actually, my vulture patient, I could not find the right vulture remedy at Helios, so that one I did order from Freeman's.
That's all the questions at the moment, Roopali.
Okay. We have about 10 minutes. So I have one other question that came up a while ago. And I think it's useful, especially for people who might work with reverse repertories. So I thought I would show you how that works. And for people who don't know, so I'm closing, as you can see, and I hope everybody knows this, but if not, it's worth repeating. When you're working on something, and you can see that I, am in the subrubrics of fear, and then maybe I just walk away and I'm doing some global searches, but you don't want your desktop crowded here. Remember not to X out if you want to save your progress wherever you are. If you X out of one of the modules, then that basically means you exited from that module. And the next time you open it up, it's going to start up fresh. So if you want to save your progress because you're wandering through modules, just minimize. It will put it at the bottom. And the same thing, we didn't really run any searches, but if you ran a few searches, don't X out if you want to save those searches. Just minimize that window. So the reverse repertory, for people who don't use it, is basically collecting all of the rubrics for a single remedy from the entire repertory and then presenting that information by remedy. So, for example, I can't use this one. So let me show you. See, repertory reversed and this reversed. I think it's the same thing. I think earlier we used to say it one way and now we say it the other way, but it still says it both ways. So when I do that, you can see these are all reversed repertories. I think I don't have, oh, I do. I have the 23 and the 24 reversed. So I just want to show you, for example, let's look at Abrotanum. So you can see this is a collection of all of the rubrics of Abrotanum in the complete 23. And instead of Abrotanum being in the different rubrics by rubric, you've taken all of those rubrics, put them together, and now you can see all of the mind rubrics of Abrotanum. And if you keep scrolling down, then after mind, you'll see vertigo, and then head, and then eyes. Or you can go section by section from here. So the question was, how can I compare? Let's go back. This is one of my favorite examples, is how can I compare the bladder rubrics for pulsatilla, which we already played with earlier in another example, with the bladder rubrics for Staphylococcus aureus. And so a nice way to do that is to compare the two remedies in that section using a reverse repertory. There's other ways to do that. You can also do it here in advanced search. I have done that. But it's also nice. There's a nice functionality here which lets you do that. And so we are currently in Abrotanum. So let's say I go to Pulse. You see, it went to Pulse, the first Pulse. So I don't want that. I want nigricans. And I'm going to look at the bladder. And here we have the pulsatilla reverse rubrics for the bladder in the complete. And now I'm going to go back and close the pulsatilla. And I'm going to go back. I am in pulsatilla. So let me now type staph. And you see it, I typed STA and it goes to the first STA. So here we have Staphylococcus aureus. And I'm going to now go to Staphylococcus aureus and I'm going to find the bladder here. But I'm not going to click on it because when I click on it, it will replace my pulsatilla bladder. So what I'm going to do is a right click, which on a MacBook or a Mac computer would be control click. So you hold down the control key and then you press click, or a right click on your PC. When you do that, it says open in a new window. So I'm going to do that. And now you see, I have both of them, but they're on different tabs. So this is pulsatilla and this is Staphylococcus aureus. And I'm going to come here onto this rubric, onto this little icon here, which says compare tabs side by side. And I'm going to, so this is so the one that is dark blue is your active one. So you're going to compare the faded blue to the active blue. So I know my faded one is pulsatilla. So I'm going to say okay. And it's going to take a little second there. But now you can see I'm comparing the bladder rubrics of pulsatilla to the bladder rubrics of Staphylococcus aureus. If you don't know which is which, you can just hover over it, and at the bottom of the window it tells you which repertory, which remedy. And the same thing here, you come here and you have the repertory and the remedy, and they're both in the bladder section. And you can scroll down, and the reason it became one of my favorite examples is because I had this cystitis patient, and I knew she was from ranunculaceae, but I couldn't decide if she needed pulsatilla or Staphylococcus aureus. The case wasn't clear enough in the mentals, and so I decided to differentiate based on the bladder rubrics. And so this is very useful to do if you're considering two very close remedies and you really want to distinguish between them, and maybe you're either honing in on a pathology or a body part or mind rubrics, to compare two things side by side. And I'm using the same reference, so for both of them. I think it doesn't, obviously work as well if you're not comparing apples to apples. So like if I had reliable on one side and complete on the other. It's better, obviously, if you keep everything equal and just compare that exact same thing. So in this case, I kept the reverse the same, and obviously the section is the same because the pathology I'm considering is cystitis. And then I have the two remedies that I'm considering. So you can do that. And that's a really good way. And maybe next time I can show you, because we're almost out of time, next time I can show you how you can do the same thing, but even more nuanced using advanced search. And that's another very useful way to get information that's even more specific when you're comparing 2 or 3 different remedies on the basis of a specific parameter. That's important in the case. So we can stop here.
Just a final question, Roopali. Karen is just asking, will Helios and Freeman's still send to the USA, or are there FDA restrictions?
No, there aren't. Helios sends them labeled as vitamins, and I figured that they found out that this is a legal way to do it. I have not missed any shipments from Helios or from Freeman's in the last however many years since before COVID. So yes, there are no restrictions. Remedia has stopped. Remedia in Germany has stopped sending remedies to the US because of FDA concerns. And so they won't ship anymore, but Helios and Freeman's are still shipping.
And Jill is asking for a link to INE Organics.
Yeah, sure. So let me pull that up on my search engine and I will paste it. Okay, I'm going to put it in the chat here. So thank you everyone for attending. It was great to have you. Thank you for all your questions. It was a great session. I hope you enjoyed and learned and got your questions answered. If there's anything that wasn't clear, write to us. You can write to me, Roopali at synergyhomeopathic.com, or Maggie at synergyhomeopathic.com, and we'll take up those questions at the next training. I know I said this last time, but I hope that we'll be far enough, or at least close to market release, to the point that we can demonstrate the new program to you, or the new update to you next time. Have a great rest of your day wherever you are, and we'll see you next month. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.